Welcome to the Scotian Canadien Studios, brought to you by nothing. Woo! If you happen to like this t-shirt, you can snag it on my Etsy store. The description is down in the comments. And if you share any of my recent videos, you'll have a chance to win this hat. Cheers, guys. Go Habs, go.
Now, a little later on in that evening at the NHL draft in Montreal, Kent Hughes, to many people's surprise, drafted left winger Yuri Slafkovsky. Now, before I get into it, we have to admit it's been a bit of a bumpy road up until this point with Yuri. His first season, 39 games played, just 10 points as a number 1 overall pick, and his season ended with injury. The Canadiens took a lot of flack for having him join the team that early and then having him get injured. Was he playing in a league that he was not ready for yet? Hard to say. But then he came into last season and he ended up playing the full season. But to start, it was a little bit slow. Like I mentioned, him and Doc early were getting some chemistry, but then unfortunately, Doc leaves and Slafkovsky seemed a little bit out of sorts. A little uncomfortable at the NHL level. However, later on in the season, I guess Nick Suzuki went to Coach Marty and asked, hey, let's get Slafkovsky up on this line. Marty obliged, put him up there, and Slav has not looked back ever since. And he's now looking much more poised at the NHL level. He closed this most recent season hitting the 50-point mark as a 19-year-old. And his competitiveness is next level. Of course, we saw many glimpses of that with the Montreal Canadiens this season, but we definitely saw that in the World Championships with him playing for Slovakia again. He was on fire. Now, his rejuvenation about halfway through the season really started with going back to the basics, the simple things, winning those puck battles along the boards at a better rate, protecting the puck, using his big frame, and then he started really putting it all together and gaining chemistry with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, and it was a treat to watch. Slav seems to have it all, and he combines all of the skills that he has to really excel as a player. And that's what elite players do. He can be a threat as a shot, which he'll then use to open up passing lanes and find his teammates alone, because Slav's drawn all that attention to himself. And he does have a next level NHL snapshot release. And he seems to have a knack for putting that puck through goaltenders. He picks his spots, and there's so much heat on those shots, they just bleed right through the goalies. And just like Gallagher in a way, Slav likes to shoot from tough angles. And now, of course, Slav's stick handling. He combines that with his agility, his wide base, and his very long stick. Shout out to Darren Detition. Rest in peace to an absolute legend. Slav combines all that to break past defenders in stride, and it is something else to watch when he does it at 6'3", 230 pounds. And then to go along with the stick handling, he seems to have some pretty slick playmaking ability as well, specifically on the power play, throwing cross-seam passes through traffic on a regular basis right onto the tape of his teammates. He is an impressive player, and now an underrated part of his game as well is his two-way play. He will often break up a play in the neutral zone or in the defensive zone and quickly have that rush going out the other way up the ice. And then he contribute offensively as well to a play that he initiated in the defensive zone or the neutral zone. I think this player is going to be an absolute force, potentially one of the best power forwards in the NHL in his true prime, that 24 to 30 years old. Now, my question to you here is, what is Slav's contract extension going to look like? He's got 1 year left on his entry-level deal, and then he is due Do we go 8 years? And what will that annual average value be on that type of contract?
I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, you can watch this entire Habs fan reaction series ad-free on my YouTube page. Go Habs, go, baby!